Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica here at Ganbatte Fitness with the great.
My name is JP, coach of Mark.
Today we are going to talk about sprint triathlons because this is this man's specialty. He is going to explain what it is, and then he is going to tell us a basic overview of how you would train for that on a daily schedule. Most actual sports require you to train more than 3 days a week. You actually have to train 5 to 6 days a week for most sports. So figure out how to do that. I don't know. Survive. You'll survive. You will figure out how to do that. You will figure out how to do that, and you will figure out how to survive, but all of that is based on good coaching.
So for the World Triathlon, a sprint triathlon is technically your 5K entry.
Wasn't there somebody from the gym here last year who went straight to Ironman?
Yes, we've had people from the gym who was like, she was like, you know what, I'm gonna do an Ironman, JP. I'm like, I love you, let's go.
That's just going from like, I'm learning to climb a rope to Cirque du Soleil. It's crazy.
Right.
It's a crazy, crazy idea.
Right, and you know, it's great. It's because like now you have like people who are motivated, they have big goals for themselves, and who are willing to do the work, right? And in anything that we coach anyway, it's all about willing to do the work.
Yeah, if you're not willing to do a work, it doesn't matter how good a program I write or JP writes.
Right.
You actually have to show up and actually do it, which is actually the hard part for most people, but that's why we're talking about it. The more you understand, the more likely you are to do it and the more likely you are to finish it.
So sprint triathlon, what is demanded of you is you're gonna do a swim, bike, and run. It's 3 different sports, right? 3 domains. You're gonna start with a swim, which is 0.9 miles or less. You have a bike ride for 15 miles or less, a 5K run or less. This whole sprint triathlon can be done in about 2.5 hours or less, depending on your athleticism. How do you start? First of all, tools. You need to have your tools. Tools will be, you need to have a bike, running shoes, and a good pair of swim trunks. Okay. Mark knows about swim trunks very, very well.
Yeah, ones that you won't swim out of. Don't buy the cheap ones. If you swim out of them, it's not funny. Well, it's funny for everybody except for you, but that's kind of like everything in athletics. If you fall down, it's funny for everybody but you. If you swim out of your swim trunks, it's funny for everybody but you.
How do I program for a sprint triathlon, right? So if I know that you're gonna be out there for at least 2 hours and 30 minutes, right? I need to teach you how to work for 2 hours and 30 minutes. And not only teach you how to work for 2 hours and 30 minutes, I need to teach you how to swim, bike, run for 2 hours and 30 minutes for the whole thing. I'm gonna give you guys a blueprint of someone who is efficient or knows how to swim, bike, run already. This thing gets skewed depending on your athlete. I'm not a strong swimmer, so I would swim more, but I'm a stronger runner, so I would probably do this a little bit more less. But I'll spend more time here just because I'm not strong in that domain. How I would do it is I would swim about 2 times a week. I would ride my bike 2 times a week. I would run 3 times a week. People ask, why am I running more? Because you finish with a run. In my head, that's where you win it. If your goal is just to finish, after this too, you're gonna be so exhausted, you need to have that mental capacity of being able to finish that run in the end. I would like my athlete to run more, 3 times a week run, this bike and swim.
So I have a question. What I do is I overkill. If I was to train for a 0.9 mile swim, I would try to build my volume up to like double that.
Correct.
I would do the same thing on the bike. If I had to do a 15-mile bike, then I would try to train for a 30-mile bike because I have a thing about overdoing things with volume cycle training.
Right.
Is that something you guys do, or is that not something you guys do?
I actually believe in that too. I'm all about stimulus, right? I need to feel how it is to ride 15 miles.
Yeah.
So in this training cycle, my athlete will be riding for about 15 to 20 miles or more. So 15 miles, novice athlete will be about an hour bike. Now you also have to think about saddle time. I would have you ride your bike for 1 hour and 30 so that you'd be like, oh, okay, that's how it feels. That's how comfortable I'm gonna get. I know I'm gonna be here for that long.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. Same with the swimming. You need to feel how it is to swim more than a mile. And also, and we both agree in this, it gives an athlete a sense of that mental click where it's like, okay, I'm more confident now because I can do it.
My goal is always to train people to think that this is the easy part.
Right.
The actual competition is the easy part. Training is the hard part.
Correct.
And the competition is easy, and it should feel not bad.
Correct.
That's what I'm always going for in my training, because I'm always doubling volume. In kettlebells, we have this psychotic thing called the Secret Service Snatch Test, where it is 10 minutes of non-stop snatches with a 24K, originally with one hand change, and you're shooting for 100 reps on each side.
Right.
And the way that you train for that is by doing volume cycles to get to 200 reps on each side.
Correct.
To trick you into thinking that the 10 minutes is actually a short time frame.
Correct.
Instead of a long time frame.
Exactly what Mark said. Very similar thought process here. What Mark didn't tell you too is, yes, it's volume. It is volume. But what kind of volume? It's all about quality of volume. I don't want my athlete just to ride 15 miles. I want my athlete to go, all right, for 4 minutes, you're gonna give me high watts, high power output for 5 minutes, then recover. Now your workout becomes more fun. I'm using the word fun for this one. It makes it more fun, because like now, if you're just gonna ride your bike, it's not fun.
How are you calculating watts on your bike? Are you running a computer?
On my bike, I run it with through a power meter. So there's a power meter attached to my bike, and it throws a metric to my bike computer. So pretty much this is it. This is my real quick go-to. 2 times a week of swimming, right? Again, you need a coach for doing all this fun stuff for him to map it for you well. He would need a metric on how long this will take you. Once he finds that out, then he can give you a plan for that. So he'll give you some interval work or maybe tech work, because you're not efficient in the water. I only say this because I'm not a good swimmer. It's all about technique. Funny enough, this technique, all of them. You're not just swimming, you're not just running, or biking. You're trying to move properly. And in this cycle, I would recommend about 2 to 3 times, depending on your schedule. Strength work.
This is what separates this gym from almost all other gyms. This is the part that is left out, and this is the part that keeps you from getting hurt. The stronger you are, the more likely you are to endure in any sport that you do. It doesn't matter if it's aerial, kung fu, judo, or triathlon. Strength work is key. And this is a secret that's not a secret. Everybody knows that this is what has to happen, and almost everybody is avoiding this part of the equation. All the stuff that we talk about, I talk about this constantly on my channel. What tools do you have, and how are you going to accomplish the goal that you need with what you have? It's always an engineering equation. And we're gonna make a bunch of videos about this simple idea where we're gonna break down the swim, we'll break down the bike, we'll break down the run, and then we will break down strength. We're gonna do it in a general overview sense, non-specific to any one individual.
Right.
But maybe at some point in the future, we'll get really bored and we'll start doing it to specific individuals.
One of the things that I actually want to address here too is, in my world, in the world of endurance racing, triathlon, a lot of enduro athletes like to train. You know, they like to run every day and all that stuff. The biggest thing that they're scared of is being sore the next day. So a lot of people be like, JP, I don't want to strength train because I'll be sore the next day because I can't swim, bike, or run. And here's my thought process in that. When you first started swimming, weren't you sore the next day? When you first biked, when you first ran, you were sore the next day. You were sore for a few weeks. And then you got used to this. This is the fourth sport. This is the fourth element. Of course you're gonna get sore. But once you adapt to this makes everything better. It makes everything better. And I always challenge athletes that this guy is an accessory to all this. It's the fourth sport. I have a problem when an athlete cannot push their own body weight around or squat their own body weight around. If you can't carry groceries, well, then what's the point of being fast? Then you're pretty much useless. But if you can actually carry your own weight around, you're strong enough to carry your own weight around with weights, and now you have to run that weight around, no one can touch you.
So we're going to continue on in this series. We're going to keep talking about this, and we're going to get it more in depth and more focused. Right now we're just doing overviews. But this has been Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica with
JP
of Ganbatte.